Beneath the ancient soil of Lebanon, archaeologists have just found something that has shaken history to its core, a newly found terracotta army commander. This single find doesn't just add another clay figure to the ranks, it changes what we thought we knew about the power, reach, and secrets of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Who was this mysterious leader, and why was he buried with such honor among thousands of warriors? What hidden layers of history have been kept from the world? Join us in this video as we discuss the details. A newly found terracotta army commander. In the final days of 2024, something happened in Lebanon that once again caught the world's attention. For years, people believed the Great Terracotta Army had already given up most of its secrets. Thousands of life-sized clay soldiers had been found, all made more than 2,000 years ago to guard the tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. But just when it seemed nothing new would be uncovered, archaeologists came across a figure that changed everything. This new discovery was not another ordinary foot soldier. What they pulled from the ground was a figure that appeared to be a commander. The difference was clear almost immediately. The armor was more detailed, with patterns carved into the clay. The posture was stronger, with one arm raised as if he was giving an order. Even the hairstyle was carefully made, suggesting that this man held a high position. Small traces of color showed that the figure had once been painted in bright shades, something that made it stand out even more. Unlike the soldiers lined up in rows, this figure was placed near chariots, in an area already linked to cavalry and flanking units. That placement was no accident, it pointed to an organized military structure being represented in clay, complete with leaders and ranks. This was the first major warrior discovery in more than 30 years. Until then, many thought most of the important finds had already been made. The discovery of a commander proved that the site still had secrets to give, and that the terracotta army was even more complex than experts first believed. The global reaction was quick. News of the commander spread quickly, and museums around the world began changing their arts. In California, the Bowers Museum showed the new figure as a centerpiece in 2025, drawing big crowds. Scholars, artists, and historians talked about what the finding meant. Some thought about if the commander stands for a real person from the emperor's court. Others said it was more likely an idealized figure meant to show the order and control of the empire. Small details in the armor and clay finish were studied closely, with some experts saying they formed a kind of visual language. These details may have been meant to signal rank, loyalty, or power in ways that we are only now starting to understand. The commander's discovery did more than add a new figure to the terracotta army. It changed the way people think about the entire site. Instead of seeing it as only a grand funerary monument, many now see it as a system, a carefully built model of an empire designed to continue in the afterlife. It showed that Qin Shi Huang did not just want soldiers to stand guard. He wanted to bring order, structure, and control with him even in death. At the same time, the new discovery reminded the world of another great mystery, the unopened tomb of Qin Shi Huang himself. Ground radar surveys show that under a massive mound near the army lies an underground palace. The scans suggest walls, corridors, and even artificial landscapes. Ancient records say the tomb contains palaces, rivers of liquid mercury, and possibly deadly traps meant to protect the emperor. Tests of the soil around the mound show high levels of mercury, proving that at least part of those stories may be true. Yet, despite all this, the tomb remains sealed. The Chinese government and many archaeologists argue that opening it now would destroy anything inside. They point to what happened when the terracotta soldiers were first uncovered in the 70s. Many of them had bright paint that vanished within minutes of being exposed to the air. Some believe that preservation is not the only reason the chamber remains closed. When put together, the commander's finding and the closed tomb send a clear message. The terracotta army is not just a collection of clay figures. It is a carefully built system that shows the power and control of Qin Shi Huang. If finding a new commander changed what we know about the terracotta army, what happens when modern AI steps in to bring these silent warriors back to life? Let's learn more. When AI brought the terracotta army back to life. In recent months, artificial intelligence has helped researchers open up new secrets about one of the world's greatest archaeological wonders, the Terracotta Army in Lebanon, China. While experts have studied the site for years, new AI scans in 2025 showed details that human eyes and older tools had missed, leaving historians and scientists shocked. The Terracotta Army was first found in 1974 when farmers digging a well came across broken clay figures, armor, and weapons. This find led to one of the most important archaeological findings of the 20th century. Diggings showed that thousands of human-sized warriors, each with different facial features, hairstyles, and clothing, were buried in military formation near the emperor's tomb. Their duty was to protect him in the afterlife, showing his belief that power should continue even after death. Each soldier was carefully made, with real bronze weapons and traces of paint that once made them look lifelike. Archaeologists believe about 8,000 warriors, along with horses and chariots, were created. The detail was so exact that each figure looked like a real person made in clay. For years, experts studied the site, but many mysteries were about how the army was made and what role it truly played. The introduction of AI scanning has now changed everything. Using better 3D imaging and cameras, researchers got every detail of the figures, from tiny cracks in the clay to traces of paint. The scans were so exact that they could record differences smaller than a millimeter. Once this data was gotten, AI software checked it, spotting marks across thousands of warriors at once, something no human could ever do. The results were groundbreaking. First, AI showed that the soldiers were originally painted in bright colors, reds, greens, and purples, proving the army once looked like a real, vibrant force instead of the gray statues we see today. Second, the scans showed that some of the bronze weapons showed signs of actual use, hinting that they may have been taken from real battlefields before being buried. This challenged the long belief that the army was only symbolic. AI also found hidden chambers under the main pits, showing that the emperor's underground project may have been much bigger than we thought. Scholars saw these secret corridors as a city inside a city. Even more shocking were the writings found on the figures. Once thought to be random marks, AI analysis shows they were notes, records of workers, instructions, and account of supplies. Some writings even hint that parts of the army were missing or hidden on purpose. One of the most disturbing findings came from links between the scans and historical texts. Evidence hints that human sacrifices may have been tied to the army's creation, raising questions about whether workers or guards were buried alive to serve the emperor in death. While not fully proven, this has sparked new talks about the darker side of Qin Shi Huang's reign. Alongside these grim findings, there were also shocking new finds. AI identified the remains of a rare general figure, taller and more richly armored than ordinary soldiers, as well as fragments of a full war chariot. The wear and tear on the chariot suggested it had been used in real battles, showing that the emperor wanted real military strength buried with him, not just clay-made. The use of AI in Lebanon also ties to other findings worldwide. In Cyprus, for example, AI scans of terracotta figures from the sanctuary of Agia Irene shows that the statues were not just local religious items. Instead, they showed influences from Greek, Egyptian, and Near Eastern cultures. This suggested that Cyprus was a place of cultural and political exchange, playing a much bigger role in history than once believed. Together, these cases show that AI is not only keeping artifacts but also changing history. The Terracotta Army, once thought to be a silent guardian, has now become a voice of history. Through AI, it speaks again, reminding us that the past is never truly buried, only waiting for the right tools to bring it back to life. If the Terracotta Army could transform an emperor's tomb into a world wonder, how did it also change the land, the people, and even the future of Lebanon itself? Stay tuned for more. Lebanon's transformation and the emperor's legacy. When the first pieces of clay warriors were discovered, local farmers had no idea how radically their lives and their land would change. The discovery of the Terracotta Army in 1974 transformed Lebanon and the surrounding areas from a dry, cracked farming village that was struggling to find water to one of the most significant archaeological sites in the world. In a matter of years, the dusty paths of Seong village were paved into modern roads, tourists started arriving in buses, and the once isolated farmland became a destination for millions of tourists. By 1979, a museum was built directly over the excavation site to house the warriors. By 1979, The warriors were housed in a museum that was constructed right over the excavation site. The Chinese State Council designated the Terracotta Army a national treasure, and Lebanon rose to international prominence. Once concerned with their crops, farmers now lived close to one of the world's most popular archaeological sites. As a testament to how this remarkable discovery transformed everyday lives, Yang Jifar, the farmer who had initially struck the clay pieces, was employed to sign souvenirs at the museum. From that point on, Lebanon was more than just a city in central China. It was at the center of a historical and cultural narrative that still draws tourists from all over the world. The first Chinese emperor, Qin Shi Huang, is at the heart of this tale. He came to power during a period of upheaval when China was split up into warring states, having been born around 259 BCE. He ascended to the throne of the Qin Empire at the age of 13, and his forces progressively overthrew competing nations over the course of the following 20 years. He accomplished something that no one had done before him in 221 BCE. He united all of China under his control and dubbed himself the first emperor. His reign was characterized by both brutal policies and amazing accomplishments. China is still influenced by the ways that Qin Shi Huang standardized life throughout the kingdom. To guarantee seamless road traffic, he instituted a single currency, a single writing system, and consistent weight, coin, and even cart axle width measurements. As a precursor to the Great Wall of China, he directed the construction of defensive walls along the northern border. He extended highways, constructed canals to link river systems, and established a large network that facilitated quicker military and commercial travel. Through these modifications, a divided nation was brought together to become a single empire. Thank you for watching this video.